Welcome to William Steele and Steele Spotlight. Thank you for joining us for another episode. It's going to be going up on Steele Spotlight Television and William Steele True Crime. So we have Frank Lordi, my co-host, back with us again this week for his weekly infusion of wisdom. Frank's the author of Framed Innocence. A link will be in the description. County commissioner who got set up and sent to prison. So he wrote a book about that experience and how he was framed by the political powers that be at the time. So, Frank, thank you so much for coming back.
Oh, so I'm glad to be here, Bill. Be your co-host. I enjoy it.
All right. We have many things to talk about. It's going to be an interesting show. Where do you want to get started on? There's just so much craziness in the news.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Epstein and that list that just got revealed with all those 150 names. Okay.
I noticed the list looked like it only had 90 names out on it today. Was it about 90 or 70 or something?
It was close to 90. There's more coming out. You know, they want to validate everything, I guess.
Probably the ones they're delaying are the people that are challenging it. Because if you notice on the list, some of the names have been redacted, or those are the people that challenged it, probably with a good reason to.
Yeah, I'm interested in that list that that made the trip over to his island. Yeah. That's got to be released.
Yeah, well, I wrote a book about Ghislaine Maxwell, and I call it My Unfortunate Relationship with Ghislaine Maxwell. The title of the book is Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure. It's links in the description. You'll see a picture of it here on the screen in a second. And it's about my unfortunate relationship with her because I knew her. I knew Jeffrey Epstein. I met him at a jewelry store in Palm Beach many, many years ago, way before they became infamous. And I've been in the Palm Beach mansion several times. Didn't really like or feel comfortable there at all. But so I didn't really stick around. In the end, a lot of really bizarre things unfolded. And I named names in my book. And my book's been out about 2 years now, a year and a half. And if you really want to know the inside story about that mansion or about them and her plots and plans, even against Epstein, you need to really read my book. I don't promote it that much, but today is a good day to speak about it for a second. It's genuinely an insider's account. And again, I name names. A friend of mine, Adrian Martinez, has Invest in Yourself. And when I named one of the names on his show, I think he had like 4 million views in like 2 days. And then the Clinton stepped in and somehow TikTok took that show down. But anyway, so when you see my book and compare it to the list, you're really going to be amazed of what's maybe not even on the list, but it's in my book. And stuff that's in my book that now is public on the list, thus vindicating what I've said all along. So I'd like everybody to check out my book, Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure, by William Steele, on my website, williamsteeleauthor.com, and on Amazon. And Frank's got a book out, too, about his experiences with political corruption and trying to root it out and then paying the heavy price. So, like Trump's going through right now.
Same thing, similar. Some people said, you tell me the bullet points of your book, Frank, and he says, sounds like what they did to you, they're doing to Trump now. I said, yeah, it's weaponization of the criminal justice system in itself, in its entirety from the attorney general on down. And I don't know if most of your listeners and viewers, Bill, realize how much power the attorney general has. He is over all the security agencies in the country. He's the main guy. And of course, he was appointed by Biden. Therefore, he's going to protect Biden and his son as much as he can, which he already has started that. However, it's starting to unfold by the House of Representatives because they started the inquiry into the impeachment of his father, who he's going to try to cover for. He's not going to obviously attend the subpoena, so we're going to see what happens there if he sent to jail for not complying.
Like we often discuss, and perhaps my audience would like to leave your feelings in the comments section. That would be nice. Let me ask you this, audience. Do you think that Biden should be impeached, and why? You have comments, you can add them. We'll address it the next time we come around. I'll address you by name on the show, or you're welcome to comment in. Do you think that Biden should be impeached? My personal belief is Republican or Democrat, absolutely. Tens of millions of dollars came into his accounts and the accounts of his family members while he was in politics, while he was vice president. They've given no explanation for it. It's clear he's been double dealing with the enemy.
Well, not only double dealing, but the main problem that I see, Bill, is that, and people don't want to own up to it. Some of his own party is starting to come around a little bit. It appears that he's in the early stages of dementia, or if you want to call it Alzheimer's or whatever. But and that situation in his life is not going to get any better. It's only going to deteriorate. And that's why he's unable to really speak without the teleprompter. And I hear and understand he's not going to debate any of his Democratic candidates in the primary election. And I think that RFK could give him one heck of a race.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
You know, my other co-host, Ignacio, former ATF agent, he says the same thing. He said RFK is going to be coming on strong, write-in candidate. The Democrat Party is refusing to support him, so I think that he's switching over to independent or something like that.
Yes, he is. He just got on the ballot in the state of Utah, and he said just recently that he plans on being in all the states. So that's good to hear. They need to hear the other side and get some competition and let this guy bring out the faults and the deficiencies in this president that we have, so other people could recognize that and realize he's really not fit to be president. I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. And I think it's a big medical problem that leads to the mental incapacity to make any serious and correct decisions that need to be made, and they're not being made. He's a puppet right now,
right?
And they're strings.
Yeah, I think the people propping him up want him to win again, so they stay in power in their positions and exploit everybody else, let Jewish people be killed and abused, and all these horrible things that are happening, and nobody's doing a damn thing about it. The Democrats are just, like, they don't care. I don't understand why they thrive on violent crime, why they thrive on open borders, 400,000 people. What is it, a day, a month coming in? Who ever heard of such numbers? What country does that? Yeah. No country would do that, even a prosperous or a poor country. Nobody would allow that. The military should be standing there for you know what? You're not coming in. Turn around. I don't understand it. They're leaving it up to ranchers to deal with people raiding their property, killing their cattle, breaking into their homes and barns to steal what they need, and moving on further into the interior of the country. And the president is sworn to uphold the Constitution, is doing nothing about it, nothing at all. Yeah. He knows in their arrogance and the corruption, they know that with federal crimes, they have complete ability to pardon themselves during an investigation, after an arrest, after a conviction. So he smugly is just going to the beach and eating ice cream cones and sniffing little girls' hair like he does, and not caring about anything going on around him because he has the power of the pardon. God forbid, and I don't wish this on any family, what if he passes away in office? Then his son's going to prison for 20 or 30 years because nobody else is going to pardon his son.
And the other big faction and factor that plays in all of this, Bill, is the power of the media, because they are covering up a lot of this. Just what unfolded yesterday, I had been telling friends of mine that we needed to get, and I was going to try to find out a way to get a message to the leader of the House, Mike, what's his last name, Bill? The leader, his name off.
I'm not exactly sure who it is.
Mike Johnson, because there's a lot of Johnsons. Mike Johnson called a press and took some of his.
Excuse me. We have a little background noise in the studio here. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I think somebody let some kids in here.
You want me to finish?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just a little bit of background noise was distracting.
Mike Johnson took a group of Republican House members, and what I wanted to do, and what I've been saying in this last week, which is a coincidence, he needs to take his counterpart, Hakeem Jeffries, and bring some of his people around him with the press down at the border, so that the other side, Hakeem and his boys, could stop saying the borders are closed, they're not open. It's a plain, outright, bald-faced lie. And they need to put them on point and say, Okay, you still think the border's closed? That's why that Mayorkas needs to be impeached. He's lying constantly under oath, saying that the border is secure, the border's closed. What gives? Do the American people not see it? Well, no, they don't, because the media is not showing it. But if
Yeah,
they went down there and they covered and the press covered this like they did yesterday, they would see how porous the border is and talk to some of the border agencies and those in charge down there to let them know how serious this is. In the month of December, over 300,000 illegals came into this country in 1 month. And they don't know where they're at, where they're going, where they're headed, who they are. And all this stuff is just unbelievable. And I think it's coming to the top. They're getting closer. But, the media, sooner or later, some of them people with their own families now got to realize these people are spreading out the United States. We don't know where they're at. They get a hearing. Some of them don't have to appear for 6 or 7 years. That's how much backlog there is, Bill. It's a joke. And they're not.
The Democrats, they don't need to go there in person to see it. It's on enough stations and coverage that they know what's going on. They don't care. They
Well,
view
they
them.
got lying about it, though. That's the big thing.
They
They're
view
lying.
them. They view them as expendable. There's kids drowning. There's trafficking going on.
Yep.
Fentanyl coming in, killing citizens. I mean, they don't care. They do not care, and I don't know why. I don't know what makes them so twisted mentally that they don't see the bigger picture. All the kids drowning in the river, getting abused on the trip, being exploited, being sold. They don't care. They know what's going on. They don't care. I don't know why. Maybe it's good versus evil. It's as basic as that. I don't know. I am losing all respect for anybody who even remains in the Democrat Party. But I'll tell you what, many of them are leaving it. A lot of Democrats are intelligent enough to see violent crime and millions of illegal aliens, bringing in dope, a lot of them, bringing in, all this trafficking, unaccompanied children, is not the way to run a country. You need to intervene, stop it immediately. So I don't know. We're going to go on to another subject because we, as concerned, human beings, can talk about this forever. And until we get these corrupt, evil people away from any kind of governance over anybody else, it's never gonna stop. This is what they want. They want to flood it with, I guess, cheap labor and free labor for the farmers and all that. And more so, they're looking at voters. Oh, it was the Democrats that let me in the country illegally. I might as well, just, vote Democrat. But most of the Hispanics, and a lot of them are Hispanic coming in illegally, believe it or not, most of them are leaning Republican anyway. So.
Yeah. Yep. You know who deserves the real kudos right now is the governor of Texas, because he's got the gall and the stones to move forward and let the other sanctuary states, let's call them, that want to take them in because they're, I'm sure, getting government funds for bringing them in, housing them. Did you see what California just did, Bill?
No.
They're inviting all the illegal immigrants to come to California because they're going to give them benefits, full benefits, Bill. They're already $65 trillion in debt, and that's going to add another $3 trillion at least. That's how crazy this country is.
The citizens in California can't barely find an affordable place to live.
That's right. That's
the other thing he's talking about reparations, for slavery and all this. And I'm like, wait a minute, this was like 200 something years ago, whatever it was. None of us had anything to do with it. We've had a black president. We have extremely successful black people in this country. There was plenty of instances of white slavery all over the world. Nobody gave a white person reparations and human trafficking, female slavery. I'm like, it's nothing but votes. And I've seen so many highly educated black Americans that are highly accomplished saying, this is a joke. I don't want the government pandering to me and giving me handouts. But they're leading people without much of an education by the nose that this is a good thing. What good thing is it? We live in a society where we can identify as anything we want. So I was kidding with somebody. I said, well, if they're giving out reparations, I'm going to move to California, identify as black, then tell me I can't get reparations. I mean, what are the crime committed, a horrendous crime committed all those years ago? What about the Jewish people? They were held in slavery by Egypt. They,
That's
we can name so many groups that this happened to. It's horrible. Our heart breaks for the experience, but it has nothing to do with society today at all in any way, shape, or form.
yeah.
So
Just amazing. Just amazing.
it is amazing. It's just it's for votes, for votes, for votes. And if people can't see that, then I just encourage them to go back to school. Something.
What, Bill, you're seeing that some of these young people are starting to come around little by little after the United States Supreme Court shut Biden's move to forgive all those debts. Now he's doing it again under another measure. They know they got fooled. The young kids believed in them and they voted for him and they were for him. Now they're starting to turn against him. And now he's trying to put it in again.
Right. So Biden's not doing his job, and nobody cares in the Democrat Party. Now let's transition over what's going on in Israel. So Israelis evidently struck right inside of Iran. What do you see about that?
I think it's about time, and I've listened to some of these generals, and for the number of drones that they're hitting our defense bases, like it's over 100 and some, Bill, and we've retaliated only maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times. I mean, I don't get it. If they want to play,
And never any retaliation inside of Iran. Israel,
right,
Israel supposedly yesterday hit a 4-year anniversary when Trump had the commander of the military killed in Baghdad. He had a strike on him. So
right.
I think this is a 4-year anniversary, and there was 2 events being held, and today or yesterday Israel struck both of those events. So presumably killing more of their military leaders and people that are close to the Ayatollah and all that corrupt nonsense.
Yeah.
So,
You know, the sad part about that whole situation, Bill, comes down to one of the main ingredients in this is the hostages, and we don't even know, number one, if they're still alive. Number two, did they move them out of the tunnels into another area where the terrorists have camps and keeping them there?
yeah, so Biden and the Democrats, they don't care anything about all these illegal immigration and all these things coming in. We're gonna roll right into another topic because everybody's talking about this already. There was a strike within Iran yesterday, which evidently Israel did on the 4th anniversary of Trump striking one of their commanders, one of the Iranian commanders,
Right.
and his 4-year anniversary. They want us to respect all their holidays and funerals and all that, but they don't. They march right on Christmas Day and want to burn down Christmas trees and beat up Jewish people and Christians, even after they were invited to live a beautiful life in the United States. Go back to the Dust Bowl where you came from. If you
That's
don't like this country and that we allow different religions here, nobody forces religion on another person in this country. It's illegal to do that. Go back to your countries if you don't like it, if you don't like how we run things here. But so this strike happened, and Israel's not admitting to it, but it's the first strike within Iran, and it killed a lot of people.
Well, they did what they felt they had to do, and that's what we're not doing. We're
Right.
not retaliating. So that's showing a sign of weakness. We're going to keep letting it go on. The Houthis are being supplied by Iran. I mean, they're letting them take shots at our ships in the Black Sea, trying to disrupt the trade, the international trade with cargo and whatever. It's a joke. It's a joke.
Yeah, these people have like, you know, 6 soldiers, and we have like probably 1 million, and the best military on the planet, and we're letting them get away with slaughtering our people and stealing from us and destroying things in this country and overseas. And it's like, what is wrong with this president? What
Yeah,
is wrong with these Democrats? They're not doing a damn thing about it.
I know.
We have the ability to annihilate these people. Unfortunately, sometimes it has to be done, or to force them to deals like Trump did. You know, you have to be wise in your approach. You have to be, gentle as a lamb, wise as a serpent, but also carry a big stick because they know we have the big stick. They just know that the people in power now are too cowardice to use it.
Well, Bill, what bigger sign? Another big sign of that was when they let that balloon come across our country, doing surveillance work, checking out our military installations. I mean, this is unbelievable.
And the balloon wasn't just drifting; it was a guided balloon, which means they were able to encircle bases and keep filming, and
That's
then move on to another base.
that's right.
People think it's just some random drifting balloon. No, that's not what we're talking about. Spy balloons can
Spy
be
balloon,
can be direct.
guaranteed. If Trump was in, that balloon wouldn't have got too far, and I believe that because
Oh, he would have shot it down over Alaska. This guy waited till it took pictures of all
that's
the
right.
missile silos and bases, and then it gets so, and then he shoots it down. They authorize a shoot down over extremely like miles deep water where
Water.
they can never recover anything.
That's
I
right.
mean, this administration, the level of incompetence at every level of this administration, and then they have like I'm not even going to get into it because I'm not trying to have problems with YouTube. But did you see the person running I think he's the attorney general of military? Like he's wearing a dress, and I'm like, what is going on in this country?
Yeah, I know. Sad.
I mean,
Sad.
and then there's other people they're putting in power that they're saying, well, this is, the mayor or the governor, this and that, and they're transsexual and all this. And next thing you know, they're in the news for molesting kids.
Yeah.
I mean, we've known this about certain groups before, and not all of them. I don't disparage anybody. That's your lifestyle. This is my opinion. But there's so many that gravitate toward that sort of thing. And we know this as a society, as people with common sense, the medical profession, the faith-based people. We know that this is where this leads. They are dancing in schools, grooming kids. We know where it leads, yet the Democrats and liberals encourage it like it's a good thing. In what universe is it good to have an adult half naked or naked in front of a child? It's not good in any universe. So it's so sickening the way things are playing out. I hope to God another Democrat, and I know certain people were Democrats or are. I hope another one ever gets in office again. There's so many leaving the party. There's very decent Democrats.
Well,
So many of them are leaving the party.
Bill, guess what? These polls are starting to say exactly what you're saying. They're starting to resonate a little bit more. The Black community, Hispanic community, and some of these other cultures, they're seeing what's going on, and they don't like what's going on. You could keep telling them day and night through your phony media that inflation's down, the economy's up. Just go to the stores, go out and try to buy things. Watch the sale of the EV, the electrical vehicles, Bill. Watch those start to go down if they're not going down already. Go check with
They don't have. I happen to like them, but the infrastructure is not in place for it yet. We're not ready for it yet.
and it may not be in place for a long time.
Exactly. So, what else are we going to talk about, Frank? You had another good topic you wanted
Well,
to address.
talk about the guy with the plane in the island, the one you wrote a book about his girlfriend.
Oh, brother. Yeah. So, I think we touched on that a little bit in the beginning. So, yeah, I did write a book about it. It's called Ghislaine, Sensational and Impure. So, I met Jeffrey Epstein at a jewelry store years ago when I was over there selling stolen jewelry. And a lot of it, I can't even, some of this is so sensitive. I can't go into it on this channel without them shutting it down.
You know what
I'll,
I'd like to know, Bill? You corrected me earlier, and I'm glad you did. But I'll make sure I get it right this time. Prince Andrew made a settlement. Are they going to open up that settlement? I'd be curious what the settlement was about and why.
well, I think we all know, but we can't say it on the show because then YouTube wants to defend them. So, YouTube, this is the opinion of my guest and of myself.
That's right.
For my audience, this is not YouTube's opinion. We're just basically reporting and giving our opinions on things that are in the news
That's
and
right.
things we have a life experience of dealing with.
That's right.
But yes, so he was accused, never convicted criminally. So yeah, there was a lot of people on that list. I think they released about 90 names. My book gets into a lot of names that I released long before that list came out. So if you guys really want to know the inside scoop, I was in that house several times. I got the hell out of there because there was so much weird stuff going on. And I had something that I removed that I brought to the authorities, and guess what? They didn't care. This is long before these people became infamous. So we're going to say enough about that for today.
Okay.
And, but there's more names going to come out. And I think that Ghislaine might cut a deal. She's not a young woman. She's in the feds, and they'll probably give her a deal if she starts testifying against some of these people.
That's what I was wondering, Bill, why she didn't cut a deal, but I guess she wasn't ready to, and she knew that she had those names in her hip pocket and she'd be able to make a deal once she went through there and started the appeal process.
Some of the most powerful, wealthy, influential people on the planet are implicated, and she knows who they are. She knows where more videos and recordings are. She knows her life wouldn't last long. So many people who came out against them have already turned up mysteriously deceased. So
Really?
read my
Already?
read the book. I get into some of that, and then even Jean Luc, whatever his name was, the guy who had the model company, he turned up hung in a cell. Epstein turned up dead. This one's turning up dead. So they I think the term is that the acceptable for these channels is they unlived themselves, but it's unfortunate, but it's been in the media. We're reporting news here and entertainment. Let's move on to another story because this topic, unfortunately, I could run it on Rumble all day long. But as soon as you talk about it on YouTube, you can't get into the details because they shut your channel down.
Let me look at this thing here.
You gonna run for mayor?
I love this city. Mahoning County, Youngstown is the largest city in Mahoning County. That's where I'm really from. I was born in Youngstown, but it's part of Mahoning County. And I think I told you, Bill, if I didn't tell you before, we were known years ago as Little Chicago. That's how bad it was because there was always fight for this territory because we are located between Pittsburgh and Cleveland. So those two factions were fighting for the control of the territory to control all those things. But Bill, would you agree with me that if the mob was alive and well today, active like they were then, do you think we'd have the drug problem we have today? I don't think so.
I think they were behind a lot of it too. In those days, they had these bogus rules that nobody follows.
Bro, see, somebody had told me that they were into everything except that. They didn't get into that. Now, I don't know how.
But that's Hollywood. All of Gotti's crew was involved with that. Even back in the day, the old time gangsters were bringing heroin in, and
Oh, really? See, then that's misinformation that got out there. Then I don't know. It is what it is.
it sounds good. I think there was some boss or somebody back in the day that didn't want them involved because the type
Oh,
of sentences they give out for drugs were very, very severe, and they knew that somebody who's a drug addict or facing a lot of time is going to inform on them,
it
and
test.
that was their reason, self preservation. But they got involved with it anyway.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
So
Wow.
yep. So let's get to this final issue now, which is they're trying to take Trump off the ballot everywhere. We had Colorado, and now we have a corrupt attorney general, evidently in Maine. I think it was Maine.
I believe. I think she's the Secretary of State. She's an official. She's
Yeah.
not.
So
She's. The thing is in the Constitution, he hasn't even been convicted of a crime.
I know.
January 6th. Now,
Yeah.
now, if he was convicted of a crime at that might fit in somehow. They could have tried to work that in. So he wasn't even charged or convicted of that. That's why I said it should be 9-0, Bill, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's 7-2.
Yeah, I think the lady who did that in Maine, she's now saying, "Well, I stayed my recommendation in order that he's not on the ballot until the Supreme Court decides their case." And other
Right.
attorney generals from different states, even a Democrat, got on there and said, "You know what? We're not going to follow Colorado's lead. We don't think he belongs on the ballot, but the fact of the matter is, it's up to the voters to decide if they want him as president again or not."
Yeah.
So
You know,
they try to criminalize things. I'm going through that right now because we do a lot of advocacy for crime victims and for assisted living and all that, and we're investigating things with guardianship programs and different jurisdictions, and so it's so funny because this one lady, a very dear friend of ours, she had asked somebody close to me to be power of attorney, and that person, because of a conflict, wasn't able to do it. And she said, "Would you do it? Treat me like I'm your mother. Would you help me? Because this assisted living facility has been ripping me off, and I need somebody to protect me and help me move out of here, break my lease and all that." I said, "Okay, we can get you a lawyer to do all that if you want an attorney, because you're entitled to an attorney and you have the money to hire one." So she gave me the power of attorney, durable power of attorney, nothing over medical. And then so this, fast forward a few months later, it's in the courts now because I was going to try to be her guardian, but with prior history of a conviction, it's not as easy to do. but there's other people close to me in the church and everything that are interested in being her guardian. Well, a private company steps in that's had like hundreds of cases probably over the years. There's some questions about a lot of them. And then like 30 active cases now, complete strangers to her. She doesn't even know. And so the first thing they do is they block access to everybody from church, myself included. Everybody can't see her anymore. So there's a thing in these crimes that's called you isolate, you medicate, and you liquidate. And so every step in that racketeering process has so far been implemented right under the nose of the judge. And I'm in court yesterday explaining it to him. I'm like, Your Honor, this has so many red flags. What's going on here? They've isolated her from everybody who cares about her by lying to police, by lying to assisted living, who's committing their own crimes. They've isolated her. They've increased her medication so she can't remember anything. They are over medicating her. She's been complaining she can't think straight. If you look at our videos with her, she's talking just like me and you. As soon as these other people got involved, now she can't think straight. And then they liquidate her. And they're always talking about protecting their assets from things she needs, like reaching out to her family or a psychiatrist to interview her. They don't want to spend money on that. But every one of them, except maybe the judge, has their hand putting money into her money to pay their attorney's fees. And I'm like, Your Honor, do you not see anything inherently wrong about what's going on under your nose right now? They're literally arguing that she shouldn't have a psychiatrist. She shouldn't have a private investigator look for her 3 children who were illegally not notified of the guardianship proceeding. And we've screamed that the addresses you guys had are old. You need to get a PI engaged and find them. Oh my God. They try to, because Mary's a very good investigator and she's exposed so much on these people. And so we brought it to the court. And the only thing they turned around and says, well, on this date, when you had power of attorney, you got this cash or you went to McDonald's. I said, do you want to see the video where she's sitting in the passenger seat with me? And I said, hey, we're going to use your card for the first time. Give me your order. She hadn't been to McDonald's in years. She loves McDonald's. We bought her to McDonald's. I handed it to her in the car and we filmed her eating it back in her place. Then they said, oh, but you made an Amazon purchase, that was just for you. Really? Here's the receipt. It's a blanket she wanted with cats on it. And here's the video of her with it in her bed. Everything we did was in her best interest, spent on her at her request and videotaped. Well, what about this money? I said, here's the video where she asked for an attorney. We brought her 2. The first one couldn't take the case. He referred somebody else. Guess where the rest of the money went? The lawyer's sitting 2 feet to my right. Ask him. Did you get paid for her, from this on this day and date? He said, yes, that's exactly where the money went of her lawyer, and she paid it. But he was power of attorney, so he made sure I got the funds. They have tried to demonize me and criminalize everything I do, and it's just insane. So I can't even imagine how Trump feels. But he can afford tens of millions of dollars of lawyers to defend himself and hire an army of attorneys, and everybody knows it's political. You put yourself in my case. I'm trying to be a crime victim advocate for really vulnerable people. And I got these snakes making false allegations and trying to weaponize the police against me. Thank God I have the proof and the videos that prove exactly the opposite of the allegations. They never dreamed in a million years that I had a reality TV show, a true crime platform, and that I record everything I do. Everything exactly for this reason, to protect myself. Everything I do. I said, we're doing this, this is your request, right? Yeah, it's my request. I need this. I need that. Okay. She wasn't mobile because she had a hip injury and COVID. So after she got better from the COVID, we took her to the stores, and it's just crazy how they could take really good people and try to criminalize what they're doing, like what they did to you, like what they're doing to Trump, like what they're trying to do to me. I cannot begin to tell you, and not just film on 2 different devices and recordings. Virtually everything I did has triple backup. Triple. And thank God it does. Because these are the experts in the room who they'll frame you any way they can to get you out of the picture. So your book, Framed Innocence, I can relate. Anybody who's done crime victim advocacy has reached out to me and says we all go through it. Anytime you're exposing evil, you're exposing corruption, they're going to come at you hard, including fabricating charges, including trying to manipulate the police against you.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I feel it. I feel it. I feel the heat. It's not a good feeling. Don't get me wrong. It's not a good feeling,
Yeah.
but the evidence is well documented and in my favor. So,
Well, you just keep on fighting, Bill, because we need more people like you and I that are willing to stand up and fight against crime and corruption. I tell people all the time, I'd do it again what I went through, and it wasn't, it caused you a lot of stress and anxiety for your family and your friends.
yeah.
But right is right and wrong is wrong. Say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah, one of the supervisors from this area, we had a rapport with him over another situation, and I think they're very, very reasonable and fair, and that they know that I've gathered the evidence, contemporaneous evidence that completely negates anything said against. It's like saying, I saw a Bill throw a brick through a window, and I'm going to give you a sworn affidavit. I want to call the police, when my evidence clearly shows that I'm filmed at home and the neighbor's camera shows a branch going through your window during a storm.
Yep.
That's how cut and dry my evidence is clearing me. And so now they're like backing up on the fence, like, wow, we falsely accused the guy who documented it and proved that we're falsely accusing him. So nothing to do with the brick. That was just a analogy story.
Yeah.
But it was comparable to being so blatantly innocent. So little Jasper's back here wondering who I'm talking to. Come here. You want to say hello to the camera? Come here. Hey, come here, you. Come here. Come here. Come here. Say hello.
Hi, Jasper.
Him? He's Well, he's ferocious though. Anybody comes around here, he'll tear him up.
Yeah, that's good, but he's a little camera shy, and I understand. That's okay.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna wrap this show up. Thank you for joining William Steele's True Crime and Frank Lordi, my co-host, and it's gonna be on Steel Spotlight TV and now Public Relations. Now, informally, Samantha Markle is my first client, but that's like a very informal relationship. But I will say this, I think I announced it a few weeks ago. My first formal client is Frank Lordi. So thank you for that, for trusting me. And I'm glad to have you as a co-host, getting you booked on some more shows, by the way.
That's right. That's
So
right.
if anybody else needs help with promotion and getting their word out there a little better than you were doing before, I'm not saying I'm the best, but I sure am tenacious.
Yes, you are. You stay that way.
Frank, God bless you. Thank you for joining us again. And I'm going to end this recording. You see, we have a nice background here. Yep. I'm going to say we're at a luxury resort somewhere in the Catskills, but that wouldn't be true. So take care.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye.